Let's turn now to Boston, where investigators are still trying to piece together the events that led up to the explosions at the Boston Marathon and actually track down those responsible for the bombings. The FBI is in the process of locating two men seen in at least one surveillance video from the Boston Marathon. At this point, Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano hesitated to call these men suspects, but expressed interest in interviewing them. For more on the Boston Marathon bombings, RT correspondent Anastasia Churkina is in Beantown right now. Hey there, Nastia. So what are the latest developments coming out of Boston? Are we any closer to a suspect or an arrest?
Megan, that's certainly the question on everybody's mind. Certainly, the bombings took place on Monday. This is Thursday here, and people are expecting some kind of tangible results to be announced. Of course, yesterday there was a little bit of panic surrounding a possible arrest. As we know, the media here started reporting that possibly one arrest has been made. That was later reiterated, and definitely people are getting impatient to find out exactly who was behind these bombings. But unfortunately, we are nowhere closer as of today, as of right now, in terms of whether or not the FBI is closer to finding the man or several people behind these bombings. We're still questioning and wondering whether or not it's going to turn out to have been an individual or a group, a domestic or foreign attack. Certainly waiting to find that out. Even though reporters are being promised that the investigation is moving ahead every hour, they're getting somewhere closer. So far, there have been no tangible announcements made. As you mentioned, the officials are considering two possible men and surveillance videos, but really this is something that's very much up in the air. We do know that they're considering thousands of videos, including a week before the bombings took place, using all the surveillance videos they can lay their hands on. And certainly right now, they are not close to being to announcing who could have been behind this attack from what we know.
Now, Anastasia, you just brought something up, and something that has been brought up in numerous media outlets. The New York Post today has a cover featuring two alleged suspects. What has happened to those men, and are they still suspects?
Nobody is yet using the word suspects. There's certainly talk of two men with backpacks that were seen somewhere around the finishing line at the Boston Marathon. But, there's really a lot of speculation at this point, especially when it comes to the media. There's footage out there, of course. As we know, the bombs are said to have been made at home, homemade devices, and officials are saying that the bombs were likely placed in backpacks and then later put in garbage can. So, a lot of talk about backpacks. Certainly, when there is a certain picture of people holding one, there's a lot of discussion of, whether or not the backpack looks suspicious. Is it reason enough to look into that particular person? So certainly this is being talked about, but the word suspects are not being used as of yet.
Now, Anastasia, I understand that President Obama today went to a multi-faith service commemorating the victims of the Boston Marathon bombing and giving a speech that he used to use the marathon to actually as a metaphor to compare that to American perseverance. Can you tell us a little bit more about this morning's service?
Well, it was definitely an emotional time. People living here in Boston were certainly looking forward to some kind of consolation, and they did, in fact, get that. The president was here. The president of the United States was here to address the people living here in Boston and people throughout the United States concerned with this latest tragedy. And certainly he gave a very heartfelt speech and did meet with victims' families and, tried to do what he could on his part to make people feel better and, I guess, safer because of this situation, because certainly this is something that was never expected or could have been predicted in this kind of picture-perfect city, Megan.
Now, I also understand, Nastia, that yesterday was not the proudest day for our colleagues over at CNN and as well as at Fox News, both of whom reported that an arrest had definitely taken place, and then they actually backtracked within the hour. Why all this confusion, and did you see any direct consequences of this false reporting on the streets of Boston?
Well, yeah, Megan, that was definitely quite amusing, and we did see this unravel in front of our very eyes when reports started coming out of CNN saying that there was an arrest made. They were quoting their special sources only within, literally minutes after blowing this up into breaking news that one arrest was finally made to backtrack. And, they had a guest on who said, well, actually, we can confirm with much better sources that no such arrest has been made. And the FBI was scheduled to hold a press conference yesterday on Wednesday, which they ended up canceling, reporting reportedly because this false information started coming out. In terms of whether or not this affected people here in Boston, probably not. There was probably some kind of false hope that finally this investigation has moved closer to finding who was behind the attacks, but certainly there was some concerns that this could have been misleading for the investigation itself and for certainly the whoever is behind the attack in terms of their further steps and them being closer to tracking this person down.
RT correspondent Anastasia Churkna reporting in Boston.